Thanks for joining the channel. I hope you're all doing well. So I'd just like to kick off this new channel with a bit of context about this very personal challenge that I've had with dealing with bad breath over the last 20 years really. So I've lived with it. It's completely crushed my confidence over the years. Living with bad breath, it's been moments of huge embarrassment for me, sometimes very isolating, and honestly it's made me avoid people over the years, and even career opportunities have gone by because of some of the challenge that I've had with it. And you can imagine sort of similar scenarios that you've been in. I've been there with you as well, so I know exactly what you're going through. But I've spent years trying to do everything really, relying on mouthwashes, mints, dentist visits, diets, and nothing's really worked until one day I discovered that the problem wasn't actually in my mouth, but it was to do with the whole of my body, and I needed to focus much more holistically around the symptoms and where they were coming from. And that was the eureka moment for me when I started to really experiment with different remedies, natural remedies, different health and well-being strategies that really made the difference in my life really. So that realization changed everything for me, and I've spent the last 20 years learning, as I say, and experimenting and healing my body. And that's now what I want to share, what's really worked, to fast track your own personal journey, because I just wish someone else was able to sit me down and be able to share some of these insights, so that you don't have to go through the same frustrations and the same shame that I had to go through. And so this channel is about much more than just fixing bad breath. It's really about learning to rebuild your confidence, learning to understand what's causing it, but also learning to know the different ways that you can go about tackling those issues. So if you've been struggling in silence before, you're in the right place. Let's kick this off, and we can heal and learn together as we go. So let's start at the beginning. So one of the most important things to do if you're suffering from bad breath is you need to diagnose your symptoms and what's causing the bad breath. And it's really important not to skip past this step, because it will help you really focus on all the aspects that you need to focus on in order to really correct the underlying issues that you're facing. So one of the things that I've learned over the years is that you need to really think about how to restore your mouth's natural ecosystem, and in order to do that you really need to sort of have a phase of what I call resetting your system, your body, and disrupting sort of the current things that are feeding the bad odors within your mouth. That's the key thing, and the only way to do that is to really think through where it started for you in your body. So obviously bad breath comes from the mouth, but most importantly it's just making sure that we understand why that's happening in the first place. So there will be a whole series of issues relating to that within your mouth that we need to diagnose and work through. So the first thing is really thinking about your mouth and your gums. Obviously we know that from plaque build up, from having cavities in your teeth, or having poor gums, gum health, all of these things can contribute to the build-up of bacteria within your mouth, and that's what feeds some of the odors within your mouth. So one of the most important things to do is just make sure that your mouth is well looked after. Your oral health is good, you're brushing your teeth, you're flossing, or even using sort of the electric flossing with water that I use to really get to those spots to make sure that you're removing those plaque from your mouth and you're removing those bad bacteria in your mouth. So one of the things that you need to be able to do is just make sure that you've got a good oral hygiene, brushing I would say at least 2 to 3 times a day. Go in and visit your dentist, make sure you haven't got any infections within your mouth, any untreated gum issues that release bacteria and gases that affect your breath. If you suffer from dry mouth, you can also get your dentist to give you some lubrication to support your saliva, and it's all about getting oxygen into your mouth to reduce the smell within your mouth. It's just make sure you're well hydrated within your mouth, and they can give you some ointments in your mouth that you can put in. I found that very helpful. Again, just making sure you're using a good toothpaste. There are many toothpastes out there to try. Some recommend fluoride based toothpaste, but I found that actually looking for ones such as those with baking powder content within it has helped massively. And one of the key steps to make sure you're doing is that you're regularly scraping your tongue and removing that bacteria, going as far back as you can to remove all of those excesses, build up of mucus that's on your tongue. And you can do that using ideally sort of a metal scrape, or you can use a plastic ones, but I found the metal ones are really helpful. Again, flossing, but just making sure that you've got good oral health is really fundamental. And the next thing we need to be able to do is also look at our breathing. So you can see in this diagram here how the different types of breathing can affect your mouth and the way moisture gets collected within your upper nasal tracts. So it's really important to pay attention to how you're breathing, because sometimes when you're breathing, you're actually breathing from your mouth, and what that does over time is that actually leads to a dry mouth, and that dry mouth can create the right level of moisture within your mouth for these bad bacteria to grow. So really thinking through how you're breathing and taking the time to breathe fully through your lungs, through your nose, rather than through your mouth as a default. And sometimes it requires training to come out of those bad habits where you're breathing through your mouth. So really looking to do some exercise around that, building sort of your breath from your diaphragm all the way through to your lungs, all the way through to your mouth. Deep breaths will really help you just flush out any of those bacteria that are in your airways. And the other thing is sort of really thinking about the other place where the smell can build up is through your nasal pathway as well. So above your mouth is a nasal pathway that meets at the back of your throat. Now, if there's any infections or any kind of congestion in that area, particularly if you've got things like nasal if you've got post-nasal drip, which is sort of mucus that builds up from your nasal cavity down to your throat, that odor can build from, not from your mouth, it's actually that nasal cavity where there's mucus being built up over time. And I suffered from that a lot, and there are many techniques to kind of treat that. You can get sprays that you can build into your mouth, and one of the things that I like to try and do is build into my routine xylitol nasal sprays, and that is a substance that naturally forming is a substitute for sugar, but it lines your nasal cavity with a layer that doesn't allow the microbes to grow, because they don't react to it so well. And so having sprays that you can use, or irrigation that you can use with salt water, saline, can really help clear out the nasal pathway, and again avoid that build-up of the sort of odours that come from these passages, to avoid them sort of causing issues for you in terms of building up odour in your mouth. So these are some fundamental things that you need to consider first of all, and to make sure that you've got practices in place and habits in place that can routinely mitigate some of these sources of bad breath symptoms. So first of all, making sure you've got good oral hygiene. Second of all, making sure that you're breathing correctly, and you're not always breathing through your mouth, but you're breathing through your nose and breathing correctly, deeply. And finally, really thinking about your nasal pathway, and whether it's, if you're suffering from any kind of congestion, getting that looked into. But I always like to build that into my routine, once in the morning and once at night, to clear out my nasal pathway with saline treatment or xylitol sprays, which is what I recommend. Once you've done that, the second sort of area to look at in terms of diagnosis is your digestive system. So this is where it gets really interesting, because I spent a lot of my years just focusing on the first part and the mouth, and then gradually over time my nasal pathway. But actually it was only when I visited a gastroenterologist nurse who was treating me for H. pylori, which is sort of a gut related bacteria in the stomach, that I had to get treatment for and get some antibiotics for. That's when I realized from her advice that actually my source of bad breath was actually stemming from my stomach more so than my mouth. And there was a number of reasons for that, and this may apply to you as well. So if you're looking for signs as to whether there's some digestive system issues that might be causing your bad breath, then these are the 3 things to look out for, and certainly apply to me. But speaking to others and through my investigations, give you some telltale signs as to the wider kind of sources of the problem, really. So I did suffer from acid reflux. I used to get quite a lot of sort of reflux and gases in my tummy, and sometimes what happens is that those gases have a way of building up from your digestive system, from your stomach, and passing themselves up the esophagus through to your mouth. So through your throat, these gases can come from your stomach that ends up getting into your mouth, and through acid reflux sometimes you can have those sulfur-like substances that end up giving you that bad smell in your mouth. So if you're suffering from acid reflux, if you're having to take tablets for sort of any kind of reflux or gastro issues that you might be having, then maybe it's also one of the things that you need to pay attention to in terms of your sources or symptoms, where they're coming from, maybe not from your mouth, but maybe from your stomach. I used to get bloating, sort of discomfort in my tummy, so sort of often feeling quite bloated, particularly after eating. Now that doesn't necessarily mean you've got that the bloating is causing the bad breath, but it's a sign where your digestive system needs some further support and attention. And the big one that seemed to be quite common in my research is that if you go to relieve yourself for a number 2, look out for how smelly your poo is, because that can be often a sign that your digestive system isn't quite healthy, and there's a lot of bacteria in your stomach, and now that bacteria is what can cause a lot of the imbalance in your body that then creates these issues in terms of odor that surface to your mouth. So these are the 3 things to really pay attention to, I find. But in any case, as part of getting yourself back to balance, it's really important to pay attention to your whole body. So I would always recommend just making sure that's part of your overall strategy to managing bad breath. You're looking at your whole entire body, and you're looking at your whole system and getting that into balance as part of your strategy. And so one of the really important things to do is you're sort of focusing on your overall well-being and looking at your stomach and your digestive system. It's really thinking about who your freshness allies are. So the concept of freshness allies is all about just knowing what's going to help you manage those issues and those symptoms that we went through. So understanding which food sources are going to support you and which sources are going to cause you problems is really, really important. So one of the things that I've built into my system is a freshness ally. So over time, what I'd recommend you do is really think about what foods trigger some of the bad odor in your mouth. There'll be some things that trigger it more than others. There'll be some times in the day that trigger it more than the others when you eat, and that's all to do with sort of the balance of your body. And so one of the most important things to do is knowing the foods that are going to give you the right balance. And so there are some really powerful foods, I call my power foods really, that I've brought into my diet, and I'll tell you a bit more about this in future videos. But first of all, let's just identify what the routines are that can help you get that balance. One of the things I teach in my program and my approach is the healing your gut, healing your body phase, which is really important. So as part of the reset, get the reset completed of your body, you need to be able to remove things, but then also make it heal with the right things in your body, for your body, sorry. And so one of the things that I like to do is look at some of these powerful food sources, and I have a routine specifically when it comes to healing the body. So for example, this is just an example of these power foods and the types of routines that I've built into my life and into my routine that's helped me create this balance in my body, which has stopped all the odor in my mouth. So when I'm doing my healing, one of the phases I go through is before bed I have these power sources, which is ginger and garlic. Now I know that sounds quite strong, but when you're cleansing your body, they have really antifungal and antibacterial properties. And one of the things the whole body benefits from is these properties from ginger and garlic, particularly when you go to sleep and have these just before you go to bed with just some water. So crushing some of these into, or chopping some of these into some water, not chewing on it, and just literally swagging them down and swallowing them whole into your body the night before. I tend to do these on the weekend, so it doesn't cause any issues for anybody going into work, and I will do this on a Friday night typically, and on a Saturday night again, and it's helping that body really remove all those bacteria right the way from the mouth right the way down to the stomach and through the whole intestines as well, just cleaning that through. And you can try this and see how you get on. If you find that it's too much, then maybe lose the garlic and just try the ginger, but I really advise you that get garlic into your diet. It might feel strange, but this is one of the things that really helped me tackle this, because it was killing off a lot of these bacteria in my digestive system that were causing a lot of these issues. So get that into your system. They absolutely, the bad bacteria absolutely hate garlic, and you'll see the benefits quite quickly. You'll see that things like your balancing your acidity in your stomach, you'll see the kind of discomfort, the bloating that you have reduce. You'll also see things like I mentioned earlier about, sort of when you go to the toilet, the smell will also reduce as well, which is a good sign that it's killing off some of that bad bacteria. So really look at these power foods, garlic and ginger, getting that into your diet. At breakfast I would have aloe vera juice, I would have other greens as well, sort of juices during the day that I've made either the night before, or for the day I'll make some juices ready to have a few celery type, ginger, celery, and other type cucumber mixes for the day as well. So I'd build some of my juices. But get aloe vera into your diet as well, pure aloe vera. Have a small cup of aloe vera first thing in the morning, and then also get some probiotics in there, so Greek yogurt and fibre into your diet as well. So really simple diet is what you need to get into your body. And at lunchtime, again, having clean foods during the healing phase and the reset phase of clean eating. So at lunch I'd have a salad, variations of salads. Also we'll introduce fennel seeds as well after food. So again, huge amount of benefits here in terms of removing bacteria and eliminating odors within your body. And xylitol, it's pronounced differently, but xylitol granules that I use instead of sugar, but also as sort of saline mouthwash. Once or twice a day I'll use that, pop it into some water, and I'll brush my teeth with it, or I'll have a wash my mouth out with it. You can use mints as well, xylitol mints as well, whichever works. And the other thing I'd recommend as well as getting into your program is miswak, which is a sort of a natural toothbrush really from the bark of a tree. And it has a huge antifungal, viral and tooth whitening properties. It's antibacterial. Using that as a natural toothbrush as well, it's massively made a difference in my life. There's so many benefits of this. If you look this up, you find over 70 to 100 different benefits from this traditional toothbrush. It's got a lot of enzymes in there that are good for your stomach as well. And the other thing, that one of the most powerful thing that I talk about is how I've introduced black seed oil into my diet as well. So twice a day after meals I take black seed oil, a teaspoon of black seed oil, and again that has huge benefits in terms of gut health, and supports digestive functions and promoting good beneficial gut bacteria as well. So these are some phenomenal things to introduce into your diet. These are the ones that I found the highest impact, but there are many more that I'll go through and talk about in terms of the other routines that I built as part of my program to reduce and eliminate bad breath. Right, so if you're ready to begin your journey towards natural, lasting freshness, I've created a 3-day freshness reset guide to help you get started, and this is going to teach you exactly what you need to do step by step to help you make sure that you're able to get the balance within your body right, so that you can neutralize those bad breath odors naturally. And inside this guide, what you'll find is the exact 3-day plan I've used to reset my own body and my breath. You'll find a whole series of routines, herbal allies and support for healing naturally, a whole bunch of tips and guidance. You'll also find some simple daily habits that rebuild your confidence, and all of this is free, so you can download it. Please do have a look at the link below. Just remember, your breath isn't the problem, and it's not something that you need to hide. It's actually a message from your body that's asking you to find the right balance. So try not to think of it as something that's bad. It's actually a sign that your body's calling out for you to take some action. So when you heal from within, freshness becomes effortless. Just remember that when you heal from within, freshness is automatic. It's just something that comes through to your mouth. So this REHAB breath method that I've come up with is your chance to start again. And within that, you'll be able to really sort of go through one by one the sort of 4 components of the system, which is resetting. So it'll help you cleanse and prepare your mouth and sinuses and create the right environment. It will teach you how to eliminate and remove bad bacteria and foods that feed them through elimination. And the third step, which is healing, it will teach you how to strengthen your oral and gut tissues with herbs and nutrients that really give you that longevity and support structure within your body to neutralize a number of those unfriendly bacteria that lives within our body. There's lots of bacteria, some of them are good, some of them bad, but we really need to know how to grow the good ones and how we need to fight off the bad ones. And the final step is around balance, so creating the right habits to maintain long-term fitness. That requires a whole holistic approach to living well. So each step works together to transform not just your breath but your entire well-being, and this is what you'll be able to do, as I say, see the benefits within a very short window of 3 days. Don't forget to like and subscribe and hit the bell for weekly tips on natural oral health and confidence. Until next time, stay fresh, stay balanced and keep breathing freely.